Hi friends, welcome back to Crystal's Books and Coffee. My name is Jessica and today I wanted to share with you my fall book haul. I have 16 books to share with you, so let's grab a cup of coffee and dive right in. Typically, I like to not buy books. I know, a booktuber who doesn't like to buy books. What is that about? Don't get me wrong. There are specific authors who I absolutely love and I will buy their books to support them. But I also have to be pretty thrifty. I don't have any sponsors. I don't have any affiliate codes yet. So I have to be careful with how I spend my money. I also really love and support and believe in the value of the public library. So I utilize the public library a lot, including physical books and their digital book collection. That being said, here in 2020, with the lovely pandemic, the library has not become as accessible. So I mean, you can still use it. It's like you can't go in and browse though. You have to do pickup only service, curbside pickup, which is fine. That's totally fine. I love that we're still able to access the library in that way. But because we haven't been able to access it in the way we usually do, I did buy books this fall. And so I have 16 books to share with you that I hauled. A stack of nonfiction and a stack of fiction and some on my Kindle. Those of you who watched my first video, my new booktuber tag, you know that I live here at the Lovestead, which is my urban homestead. So you'll see a trend in my nonfiction books here. A lot of them are related to my original YouTube channel, which focuses on urban homesteading, homemaking, and that kind of thing. And so you'll see that trend in the nonfiction books that I choose to read. So just a heads up, I am going to start with the nonfiction. Okay, first is The Upside of Stress by Kelly McGonigal. And I bought this book because I originally saw her TED Talk about reframing stress to actually be good for you and to actually be your friend rather than your enemy. It was a really fascinating TED Talk and I'll link it down below. And after watching that, I had to get this book. For those of you who don't know, I have a master's degree in psychology, primarily focusing on research, not necessarily counseling. Don't ask me your mental health questions. So as a research psychologist, this is really, really interesting to me. And so I'm excited to read this book. The next book I got was The Life-Giving Home by Sally Clarkson and Sarah Clarkson. And this is a book about creating a place of belonging and becoming in your home. I'm really examining the concepts of home and homemaking on my other channel. And so I'm super excited to dive into this book. What they do is they give like a general overview, but then they also break it down month by month. So they go month by month, different things to take into consideration with homemaking every month of the year. So I'm pretty excited to read this. The next book I got, again, you're going to see a trend, Home Comforts by Cheryl Mendelson. So it's Home Comforts, The Art and Science of Keeping House. This book is big, like it is big and thick, but it really goes into detail about homemaking from the perspective of home maintenance and cleaning. So she talks about things like how to wax your floors, how to maintain your appliances, how to fix different things in your house. She talks about how to maintain certain fabrics and fibers, like in your curtain and in your furniture. Like, it really goes into a lot of detail about home maintenance, cleaning, home safety. So it's more about those practical aspects of homemaking more so than the philosophical or spiritual aspects of it. And I definitely need that knowledge. So I'm excited for that one. The next book that I got is Ball's Complete Book of Home Preservation. There is a lot of information out there online about canning, and I am new to canning. I've never canned before, but I had a fairly decent garden this year and I wanted to learn how to can. Unfortunately, the garden didn't produce the way I wanted to. Live and learn. So this will just be knowledge for next year, which is perfectly fine by me. But you have to be really careful when you can, because if you don't can things correctly with the correct recipes and the correct methods, you can end up with botulism in a can. Basically, you can get really, really sick. So I'm doing my research and doing my background research from good, credible sources, not just any sources out there. Like, I'm using Ball, which is like the #1 canning company in the US, and then USDA stuff like that, USDA, FDA, because I don't want anybody to get sick from the things that I can. But this book basically explains the different canning processes, and then it gives you a lot of recipes that you can use to can different items in your home. I did get another book on canning, and it is from Ball again. It's Ball's Blue Book Guide to Preserving. And again, it just gives more information on techniques. Not quite as much on techniques in this one. This one is more focused on recipes. So, yeah, lots of recipes in here. So these two books in hand will really help me learn how to be a good canner for next year, when I hopefully have enough garden produce to do canning. And then I might also look into the official book from the USDA, because they do have an official book that I think they updated it fairly recently too for their safety standards. So I will probably get that somewhere down the road, maybe in the winter. Okay, my last nonfiction book that I got is Seed to Seed by Susan Ashworth, and this is about seed saving. So I'm a pretty avid gardener. I'm passionate about gardening. I love to grow my own food. And what we saw happening this year with COVID-19 is some pretty bad seed shortages among seed companies. So if you want to prevent getting stuck in a seed shortage in the spring, you want to start saving your seeds this year. And so I have used this book already to learn how to save certain seeds for my garden. Pepper seeds, tomato seeds, squash seeds primarily. It's my first year seed saving in this way, so we'll see how it ends up happening next year. I have already started purchasing seeds for next year, because while they're available, I'm going to go ahead and purchase them to prepare for the seed shortage in the spring. So just a little bit of advice: if you have seeds available to you, get them now if you plan on gardening in the spring of 2021. So this was a really, really good book on seed saving. I recommend it. All right, I'm going to transition now from the nonfiction to what I got on my Kindle this year, or not this year, this fall. It's hard to show covers and stuff on Kindle without taking a whole lot of time. So I did pull up on my computer the Goodreads pages for the different books that I got on my Kindle. So the first book is called Stoner by John Williams, and this, if I just read the description here, it says William Stoner is born at the end of the 19th century into a dirt poor Missouri farming family. Sent to the State University to study agronomy, he instead falls in love with English literature and embraces a scholar's life. So different from the hand-scrabble existence he has known. And yet, as the years pass, Stoner encounters a succession of disappointments. Marriage into a proper family estranges him from his parents. His career is stymied. His wife and daughter turn coldly away from him. A transforming experience of new love ends under threat of scandal. Driven ever deeper within himself, Stoner rediscovers the stoic silence of his forebears and confronts an essential solitude. It sounds really depressing, but hear me out. I work in higher education. I am a scholar myself. I studied English literature. I studied French literature. So this book really appeals to me from that perspective. Yes, it sounds really depressing, but it sounds like there's also opportunities in there to really examine transformation and self-reflection, and to really examine loneliness. And so I personally am excited to read that book. I also bought for my Kindle Tess Gerritsen's little novellas, John Doe and Freaks. The only way that you can buy those books are through the Kindle store because they're not actually in print. So Tess Gerritsen is one of my absolute favorite writers. She writes the Rizzoli and Isles series, which was made into a television series. And she has these two novellas that are like, I don't know what booktubers call it. They're little novellas in between the main series of the book. So it's like 4.5 is the number of the book. Anyway, I have the whole collection of Tess Gerritsen, Rizzoli and Isles series except for those two novellas. So I did go ahead and purchase them on my Kindle because, like I said, they're not really available in print. So I have those two. I got the book, The 12-Week Year by Brian P. Moran, Get More Done in 12 Weeks Than Others Do in 12 Months, about productivity and time management. We'll see. I really enjoy those kinds of books. I like to apply what I learned from those books, but we'll see what this one says. The last one I read like that was Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it was excellent. So this came recommended for people who liked that book. So we'll see what it's like. I actually won a Goodreads giveaway, which I'm really excited about. I won the book Searching for Sylvie Lee by Jean Kwok. I adore Jean Kwok. I adore her work. I loved Girl in Translation. So I'm really excited to read that. And then I also won a giveaway for the book Words by Ginny L. Yitrip. And Ginny, or Jenny, I apologize if I'm not saying your name right. She is a Christian author, and the book Words sounds really, really interesting. So let me read you the description of it from Goodreads. It says, 10-year-old Kaylee Wren doesn't speak, not since her drug-addled mother walked away, leaving her in a remote cabin nestled in the towering redwoods, in the care of a man who is as dangerous as he is evil. With silence her only refuge, Kaylee collects words she might never speak from the only memento her mother left behind, a dictionary. So that's sort of the synopsis. It sounds really interesting. It sounds kind of gut-wrenching too, and I'm looking forward to reading that. So that's what I got in my Kindle. Now, let's wrap this up with the fiction pieces that I ordered. So I actually got this. There's a price tag on here. I'm just going to take that off. A while ago, but I'm including it in my fall book haul. The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. It's a classic. Y'all know the Canterbury Tales. I have not actually read it in its entirety. I've read bits and pieces of it here and there, but I have not read it in its entirety, believe it or not. So I did get this because I was like, I have a master's degree in English. I need to have read this. I got 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. It is a Nobel Prize winner. I really like to read Nobel Prize winners and Pulitzer Prize winners. So this is one that I purchased. It's been on my to-read list for a while. I bought Shark Dialogues by Kiana Davenport. I learned about Kiana Davenport through a literary festival that I attended this year virtually because of COVID. But Kiana Davenport, I guess, is one of the most well-known and beloved writers for those of the Pacific Islands and Hawaii. And this presenter spoke about her in such a way that I just was really intrigued by her and by her writing. And so I'm really looking forward to reading this. I asked the presenter what her favorite Kiana Davenport book is, and she said Shark Dialogues. So I bought it, and I'm looking forward to reading it. Okay, next I have the complete works, or the collected writings, I should say, of Zelda Fitzgerald. Zelda Fitzgerald absolutely fascinates me, and I've read bits and pieces of her work, and I have read biographies of her, and I've read a lot of F. Scott Fitzgerald work, which she actually has plagiarized from Zelda. And so the library that I go to actually doesn't have her collected works. So I bought it. Well, actually, my boyfriend bought it. He says he bought it for himself. It's for me. And so, yeah, I'm excited to read this. This contains all of her short stories, her diary entries. It has letters that she wrote, and it has her novels in it. And so I'm excited to be able to read her actual original work after having read so much of like her biography and so much about her husband, F. Scott Fitzgerald. I feel like not enough people give her enough credit. So I'm here for that. I'm here to stand up for some Zelda. All right, and the last book that I got from my fall book haul was Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I am a big fan of Marissa Meyer's Lunar Chronicles series, and I had not read this yet. I don't think this is part of the Lunar Chronicles. It's more of a spin-off book. But I absolutely love fairy tale retellings, and so I love the Lunar Chronicles. I think it's excellent, and I'm excited to read this because it is also a fairy tale retelling of Alice in Wonderland. That is my fall book haul, and it's not necessarily my TBR list for September, but I will eventually get around to reading these books and sharing my thoughts on them. And yeah, so that's it for today's video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful community. And until next time, make sure to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.